to get a more accurate picture, we really want to look at, well, this gives us a good gauge and we can, see kind of what's working here and what's not working here. And, this is probably the most single quick thing to look at is the ACOS. Because, if this is too high, like this is pretty high, 60%, I'm not really making much money at all from these ads directly. I might be indirectly, but not directly, I'm not. 71, this is like very high, 40, okay, not great, but okay. So if you're not looking at anything else, you're probably looking at the ACOS and just to see how that is, because this number, ideally, we want to get it down into the 20s. Not always possible, depending on your book and the competition for that type of book. But, that's ultimately the goal is if we can get it in that range, then you're doing fabulous. So, but we want to, because these numbers aren't 100% accurate, it's best to actually look at real live results. So I've set that up here. I think we got it here. Sorry, my bar here from the Zoom is blocking what I need to see. Okay, so this is our German books, and I set this up because German is still more raw. It's less refined. It's messier. Let's put it that way. So this will be more interesting for you to see. So, which is why I chose this. So, what I want to look at right now, let's go back. And we're going to change this. We're just going to look at this month's. So, according to Amazon ads, I've spent, these are all in euros, 108 euros and made 223 euros at an ACS of 48%. So let's see if this is true. So I've gone into KDP and looking at the reports, and you can go straight to kdpreports.amazon.com if you want, or you can just go to kdp.amazon.com, click reports, you'll get here either way. And I'm doing the same search. So I'm just looking at this month's. I've changed the marketplace to just Germany and all books. And why all books? Because this isn't showing me all books, right? Necessarily. This is only showing me the books that I've got in this ad. But watch this. I'm only advertising the German books, and here is book 1, book 2, and we got 27 and 15, and this is also book 1. It just breaks up the ebooks from the print sometimes. So this is, what's that, 37, 47, 52. So we got 52 here compared to the 22 that it's showing. But Germans also bought a bunch of English language books. So I sold some English language books in Germany. So, I mean, those never happened without the ads. So what happened here is somebody saw the ad and decided, well, let's see if they got it in English and they bought an English language book. So again, that wouldn't appear in this 22. So in actuality, well, this is showing 22. In actuality, I sold 55. So my actual ACS is about half of this. Make sense? Now I also want to look at the cost. So here it's saying, well, that's going to be right, 108, but it's saying for this month, I've earned, call it 224 euros. So same thing, KDP reports, I've gone into the royalty estimators this month, just Germany. And here's the actual. So this is actually pretty close. Says 224 here, the actual amount is 250. So, okay. So, that's it, but that tells me something here too, because 22 books and it's saying 223, and here it's like 55 books and it's 250. Something doesn't add up there. So I need to do a bit more research and see why this is showing so high. I'm just going to quickly do divided by 22 equals, right. So it's showing $10 here per book sold. That would be the total cost. And this is something I got to ask KDP about, because I do find sometimes this sales is showing the full price of the book, not what I'm earning from the book. Does that make sense? Because a book may be sold for $10, but I'm only earning $7 on an ebook, or 60%, which would be $6 on a print book, minus print, so even less. So this is the more accurate number to go by, but still here it's 250, which is more than the 224. So again, my ACOS is still lower than that, just not nearly, not half, probably about 40%. So this still definitely has some room for improvement. But so that's kind of what we're looking for, trying to get a sense of what's working and what's not working. So now, even though this is 40%, that's not necessarily bad, especially because we're thinking long term. And there's a couple things you want to keep in mind with Amazon. And the key point number one is that Amazon doesn't prominently display poor selling books. So even if it's like an 80% search match for what a customer put in, if the book doesn't have a good sales history, Amazon is pushing it to the second or third page of the search results and just showing the books that it knows sells, because it figures there's more chance this book's going to sell because it has in the past. So by running Amazon ads, we're creating a sales history in Amazon. We're getting into the algorithms and telling Amazon people do buy this book. So it does start showing it on that first page of the search results. It does start tying it into other books and creating organic traffic. So point number one is, if you don't already have good sales, you need to somehow generate good sales for Amazon to recognize that it wants to show your book. So when Amazon's deciding what books to show, it's looking at the SEO and it's looking at the sales. So if you don't have good sales out of the box, which are almost certainly not going to, unless you've just created the next 50 Shades of Grey, or something that just kind of explodes like that did in popularity, Harry Potter, or something where just unexpectedly big, you're going to have to create the initial sales and kind of prime the Amazon pump. So, but once Amazon sees you got sales, it starts showing your book more. When it starts showing your book more, you start getting more organic traffic. And that's the key point number two, is the more Amazon's algorithms identify your book as selling, and selling to a particular group, and selling with other similar books, and that people who bought this book tend to buy your book, the more that happens, the more you start getting organic traffic. right? And then you don't even need the Amazon ads necessarily. If they're profitable to run, keep them running. There's no reason not to. But you start building up more and more organic sales on top of the sales that are generated by your ad, which is why it's a good idea to compare not just what it's showing you on the Amazon ads information, but look at actual sales. And ideally, you want to know what your sales were before you started running any ads. Now, that may not be practical to do, but in an ideal world, you'd have 2 or 3 months of before Amazon ad sales. So, okay, well, I was selling 10 books a month or 50 books a month or 30 books a month without running any Amazon ads. So now when you start running an Amazon ad, you're going to see here, right? For example, 22 books were sold because of the ad directly attributed to the ad, but in fact there were 55 sales. So an additional 33 books were sold organically, but this organic traffic only exists or largely exists because of the ad in the first place.